Okay, we're gonna watch Elden Ring's new story trailer, Is Hiding Something by Vaati. I know some of you guys have watched it already. Yeah, the story trailer was dropped, what, like 2 days ago? And this was dropped... When was the story trailer dropped? It was longer ago, right? This was dropped 1 day ago, is when this video was released. It's by VaatiVidya. I just want to say, Vaati did make this video, so this is not my video. So if you guys want to check them out, which you probably have already if you are from a fan, feel free to do so. And yeah. I do think this video is kind of about theories on like lore and stuff. It's not like canon stuff. It's probably just like analyzing the trailer a little bit. I actually haven't seen it myself. I have also not watched his first video on the first trailer, but maybe I'll do that another time. But yeah. Okay, let's see. I have no idea what this is about.
In this trailer makes so much sense. Is probably what I'm gonna say in about a month when the DLC is out. When we look back, this trailer will explain everything, but right now, I've got so many questions, especially about this scene in particular.
It's the weird, funky hair scene.
We're being teased with what is clearly one of the most important events in this universe, and while the truth is right in front of us, it's impossible to make complete sense of it yet.
This scene was disgusting.
I hate it. I love it. Let's break it down. So, this trailer comes in 3 parts. There's the beginning, where gold arose and shadow was born. Then we see the war that followed, with Mesmer reducing a city and...
Oh my god, I just want to say, people are going to scream at me again because I paused the video, but I think it's better to pause it while I talk than to talk over it, okay? I dreamed of this, okay? I just want to say, I had a dream where I was in the lands between and I saw this specific spell. That's how much I've thought about this scene. How do I explain it? But his voice is literally perfect. But it's kind of... It's so good. His voice is literally so good. She's obsessed. I am.
Its citizens to ash. Finally, we see Mika nearer the current age, and he's been preaching a hidden truth about the beginning to his followers.
I always think Mika and Marica look the same in these videos.
Spoke of the beginning.
Oh, I hate this scene.
And the betrayal.
Disgusting.
An affair from which gold arose. And so too was shadow born.
So in my last video, we had some theories that this is supposed to be the Earth Tree or something, because the Earth Tree is like dead people go there, right? That is one theory, but I don't know if there's any truth to that. I have no idea.
To start, this is Queen Marica. The bracelet and these armbands, they're an exact match for her jewelry in this piece of artwork.
Oh, true. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Here? The first shot we see is Marica pulling what looks like hair from what looks like a corpse. The hair seems easy to explain. I think these are runes of the Elden Ring. Compare these threads to the ones that you see in this cinematic, where the Elden Ring was being repaired. This is Marica's hammer, and its description reads, "The hammer partially broke upon shattering the ring, becoming splintered with rune fragments." And obviously, these threads are very much the same as the rune threads here.
That is so simple.
Marica is essentially looting runes from a corpse, maybe somewhat similar to what we do in the actual
She's just
game.
like me for real.
Please bear in mind that from this point forward, a lot of this is speculation. However, even if this speculation is wrong, I think this is still a really good opportunity to talk about and become familiar with concepts that will likely show up in the Land of Shadow one way or another.
This scene looks so sick. Wait, I want to look at that. Also, did you guys... I have a question. Can I not? No, I can't. Where is Vaati from? I feel like he sometimes sounds Australian. Am I insane for thinking that? Oh, he is Australian. How have I never noticed that?
Shadow one way or another. So yeah, here goes. I don't think these are just any runes, nor do I think this is just any corpse. The thing this mass first reminded me of was the attire of the Godskin enemies.
Ew.
It's really similar in color tone, and the thick folds really remind me of skin and fat. What's more, we can see horizontal stitching at the edges, which brings to mind the Godskin Stitcher, which is a weapon that references the creation of the Godskin attire, which is peeled and then stitched together from Godskin. And
no, that's actually crazy.
Marica's hand alone is bloody, it's not bloody further up. Clearly, she's reaching into something visceral. But what is she doing here? Obviously, it's too early to say for sure, but I do want to comment specifically on the shape these threads are making. It's being pulled into a downward arc, which is a really potent symbol as it relates to the Elden Ring. So there are two downward arcs on the Elden Ring. One is here at the bottom, which is explicitly a rune arc. It's a basin in which the blessings of the Elden Ring pool. But the more relevant arc, I think, is here at the top. This arc creates a symbol that is iconic to Marica. It's seen on her scar seal and in her crucifixion at the end of the game, and now again in the trailer here, and at the end of the trailer as well, with the gold flowing.
Okay, that one looks different though. That one looks different. The other ones I agree with. That one, I'm not seeing the same shape here, I feel like. But what the fuck are the Godskins doing there? That's what I want to know. Why is she pulling hair out of a Godskin? That is disgusting.
Between the two shadow trees. Something that the YouTuber Quailag talked about very early on is that Marica's seal seems to be a subversion of the Rune of Death. You would have seen the Rune of Death after defeating Malekith. It's something that was once a part of the Elden Ring, delivering a destined death to all until Marica the Eternal removed it and sealed it away. According to Enya, this rune was plucked from the Golden Order upon the Golden Order's creation, and indeed Marica's age became defined by its defiance of death in all things. So it is that I wonder if the Rune of Death has anything to do with the subverted symbol of Marica we see.
Wait, how old is Marica?
Understanding the Rune of Death is important also because it has a lot to do with the Godskins.
Oh
now,
god, why is it always
Godskins? Going
Godskins?
too far down a tangent that could be built on a false premise here, but if this is Godskin we see in the trailer, then it really could have huge implications for what's happening in this scene. So let's entertain the idea that this is Godskin, just to see where this takes us.
Out of all the bosses I could have picked, of course it's the Godskins. Of course it's... Imagine there's a boss in the DLC that's like a mega Godskin. Imagine there's like an even harder Godskin. Godskin quadruples. Can you imagine?
The leader of the Godskin nobles and the Godskin apostles was the Glowmide Queen, who, like Marica, was an Imperium, someone chosen by the Two Fingers as a candidate for godhood. And items describe how she was defeated long ago by Malekith.
Good.
Who
hope she stays dead.
Shadow. So essentially, she was defeated by Marica. However, the exact nature of this clash is really unclear. We don't know if the Glowmide Queen and Marica were equals or rival Imperiums.
Maybe they were besties.
Or how or if control of the Elden Ring was split between them. But we do know that in the end, destined death was sealed, and the true power of the Glowmide Queen's black flame was lost. Marica had won. So one kind of insane piece of speculation is that this body could actually be the Glowmide Queen's, given the Godskin and the rune and the war that Marica won against her in the beginning. But this theory about this being the Glowmide Queen is entirely built upon the premise that this lump is Godskin, and that premise might be false.
I do think that makes sense though, but how do we know about the Glowmide Queen? Where does that come from? Is that in like item descriptions or what? It's an item lore, yeah. You can even get her sword. Oh, I want to look at that. I want to look at that in a bit. Okay, I do like this theory though. I don't like the idea of another Godskin fight in the DLC. I do think with a Godskin duo, they already made like an infamous Godskin fight. I'm not sure if like adding another really difficult one is gonna like be exciting. Unless she's like actually actively very, if say we fight her like very different to the fights that we already know. I would like that, but if they just make it a similar theme, I don't know if I would really enjoy that.
Of all the characters we know in Elden Ring, I do think she's the most likely candidate, but To be honest, I actually think it's more likely that this is a character or a thing we've never seen before. It's a sort of tempting impulse with Elden Ring lore to try to explain the story based on what we know, but the truth is that FromSoft are going to introduce a ton of new characters and concepts and names that we've never even heard of before in the DLC, and those are the things that will shape our new understanding of the game.
What I think is really exciting, I just want to mention this. This is the first time I'm experiencing a DLC release. So I do think that makes it very exciting because I've never actually experienced one of those.
Thus, keep in mind, it's just as likely this could be some old god we've never heard of that Marica took runes or the Elden Ring from. And speaking of claiming the Elden Ring, the soundtrack you can actually hear in this scene is the Elden Beast's soundtrack. The Elden Ring became the Elden Beast, and it's something that we face as we attempt to claim the ring, so maybe that's kind of what Marica's doing here as well. The Elden Beast's theme here sounds really distorted, as if it's cutting out. I wonder why that is.
Mika the Kind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal.
He really likes showing that scene.
And betrayal is certainly par for the course for Marica, who has a history of such things. Renala, in particular, comes to mind. She is a champion who was seduced by Radagon, who is also Marica. Their marriage with Renala settled a war that Marica couldn't win, after which Renala was abandoned by Radagon Marica and left broken.
I hope they explain that a little in the DLC.
I wonder if this seduction and betrayal that the trailer mentions could have been applied to the Glow-Eyed Queen or some other rivals in the past as well. The next line does call it an affair. The wording makes it sound so scandalous.
An affair from which gold arose.
So, could Marica have used Radagon to play that seductive trick twice? For that to be true, Radagon would need to have been one with Marica since the beginning. And actually, Marica's torso is a bit more masculine here than expected. Better evidence,
Marica's kind of an icon.
The hair. If you look closely, you can see a strong reddish tint to Marica's hair, particularly at the back here. But to be honest, I think it's more likely that the trailer is talking about Marica's seductions and betrayals in a more general sense. The Erd Tree and the Golden Order are inherently very seductive concepts, after all. It was advertised as an age of endless bounty and endless life, but that was a lie, and the truth is surely more sinister. Clearly. So where is this place? On the border of two worlds, apparently.
Wait, but we don't have a proper explanation of why Marica is also Radagon, right? Do you guys think that's going to be explained in the DLC? Because I feel like that is a base of a lot of the things that Marica might have done, or like Radagon might have done, and then maybe Marica's behind it. I feel like we kind of need an explanation for that, right? A lot of theories, but no clear answer. I don't think so. We'll see. They were two people that became one. One people that is two, one person that became two, and then one again. No idea. But maybe there's also a theory that maybe they haven't been both of them from the beginning, right? Maybe they used to be separate people and then they merged at some point. Don't really want to explain all the huge plots in DLC. Yeah, okay. It comes from an ancient European tale where a red-haired king and a blonde queen were the same person or something. For real? I actually didn't know that.
Apparently, filled with corpses and viscera. It's almost as if this mountain of corpses is making up some sort of gate. From our perspective, you can see a golden sky within and a gloam-colored sky without, and presumably the reverse would be true if you were to look in from the other side. At first, I thought this dark world might be the land of shadow, and that light world might be the heavens or something like that. And that the lands between could be named the lands between because maybe it grew out of the border of these two places.
I kind of just thought outside, we're looking into the lands of between. That's what I assumed. Like the golden bit is the lands between as we know them.
Is that even possible? Alternatively, this could be the land of shadow, and the lands between could be the golden world beyond. What do you guys think? So here
That's
comes
what I
the
think.
next crazy theory. What if this towering structure is the Erd Tree in its primordial form? It would make
That's what someone
sense
said on
for the
stream
Erd
as well.
Tree to have been grown on some border between worlds. It appears in both worlds, after all, golden in one and
Thank you for the
shadow
follow.
in the other. The biggest piece of evidence for this idea is that the primordial form of the Erd Tree is also known as the Crucible, where primordial life was blended together. We know that the Crucible is what became the Erd Tree's vital energies. Now, we've never seen the physical form of this Crucible, but we do have a few hints as to what it might look like. The first comes from the Gilded Great Shield, which states that the red tinge in the gold coat mirrors the primordial matter that became the Erd Tree. There's also a great sword of a Crucible Knight that has a red tint that exemplifies the nature of primordial gold, said to be close in nature to life itself. Lastly, red, mushy root resin shows
Lovely.
up at the Erd Tree's own roots. And this towering structure does feature a very red blending of life, what with all the viscera here. So could the Crucible literally be a blending of lives that gave rise to the Erd Tree?
That bit is confusing.
In the end here, all we really know for sure
I
right
don't
now
know if I
is
understand
what
that.
the trailer literally tells us. And it's that this affair, this beginning, gave rise to gold and shadow, and that a war would follow sometime after.
That was a bit too complex for me. I never understood the whole Crucible thing. I don't know if I'd call a pile of corpses blending of life. No, why not? I think it makes total sense. I think that makes a lot of sense.
What followed was a war unseen. One that
Oh, are we
could
getting to the
never
Mesmer
be
part
put
now?
aside.
Nice.
A purge without grace or honor. The tyranny of Mesmer's flame.
This part of the trailer is a little bit easier
Mesmer,
to explain.
Mesmer.
Here we see Mesmer's forces marching within this castle that we saw disintegrating in the previous gameplay trailer. It's a bloodbath here, and it looks like Mesmer's forces experienced very little in the way of resistance.
They look so
Perhaps
scary.
the residents of this place weren't expecting or prepared for a purge at all.
You mean this woman that I just showed? Yeah, I said that in my last video, that the girlie that's like kneeling in the fire. I'm super curious to see who that is as well.
Mesmer stands over the battlefield, directing snakes of red-black flame below. If you need to learn more about who Mesmer is, then I recommend you check out our previous news video, which speculates more deeply on his character. But suffice to say, he is a character that is considered
Say no
to
more.
be on equal footing to the other demigods and children of Marica. That's the official quote. And he's almost certainly a child of Marica, given his dialogue in the previous trailer.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light?
In this new trailer, we see him purging this part of the Land of Shadow, at least, in an act of what they're calling tyranny, presumably on behalf of his mother, who wanted no songs sung about this land or war.
Wait, so it's confirmed that Marica is his mother? I need to watch the first video he uploaded. I actually haven't watched that at all. Oh, they explained it already. That woman is Torrent. You are trolling. Ah, you're lying. You're lying. Could be Mika resembles a woman from outside, but I don't know. I need her to be someone else. It's basically confirmed. I don't believe that. There's no way that woman could be. I don't believe it. You're trolling. That is not Torrent. That would be so random.
Earlier, we speculated that Mesmer might have been specifically a child of Marica and Radigan's union, considering his red hair, and while I still think that's likely to be true, I don't think we speculated on when Mesmer
So
would have
he's
likely been born. So let's
also
do that
siblings
now.
with
as far as we
Melania and
know,
all them.
Radigan only made his first public appearance in the Liurnian Wars, and only had children with Renala, and then again with Marica after he abandoned Renala. However, I'm not sure it makes sense for Mesmer to have been born that late in the timeline, since it seems likely the purge took place much earlier in the timeline, at a point that followed the beginning. So what if
I mean, I'm not
Mesmer
surprised.
was born outside of wedlock, so to speak? What
But
if
I'm
Marica
surprised that
Radigan
it's confirmed
conceived
basically
Mesmer
already.
on their own ages ago? In this early age, Marica might not yet have had Godfrey to fight her wars for her, but it seems she did have Mesmer. In this context, it might have been a brilliant political play to
Oh, this was
use
way
Mesmer
back.
to usurp the land of shadow in his tyranny, and then essentially lock him away in this veiled land to rule. Maybe this solved quite a few problems all at once, especially considering how blasphemous Mesmer would have been to Marica's rule in the lands between. Though again, this is just speculation.
So this was way back, this whole situation, and then he might come back in the DLC basically. There's too much evidence that Mesmer is a demigod. I mean, I kind of expected it. It's not confirmed, but it feels obvious. The only red hair people we've seen are sons of Marica. That's true. We don't know timeline, it's speculations. That's okay, yeah, we gotta remember that, guys. All of this is speculations. We speculate this is way before, yeah, like right after Marica becomes a god. Oh, but that is usually the case, right? The trailer is usually before the events of the actual DLC then, so that, I guess that makes sense.
As expected, the Wicker Men march on Mesmer's side, and will have to fight one, as seen here in the gameplay trailer. A recent tweet states, "The sordid sins of war still walk the realm of shadows, even as their victims search fruitlessly for recompense." The brunt of Mesmer's army consists of extremely well-disciplined masked soldiers wielding spears, led perhaps by these knights in black and gold trim. They look a lot like this knight fought in the gameplay trailer. In the next scene, we see the lion dancer
I'm not seeing
smashing aside two of Mesmer's soldiers before it confronts Mesmer himself. In the shot,
I was gonna say the fight with the little fire, big fire thingies does look a lot like it would be a fire giant fight. I don't know. I feel like it might be an annoying fight. They had Twitter in the lands between. No, they used MySpace. This is way back, so that was MySpace times, obviously.
Not to follow, we see the flame he's conjuring in response to this assault, followed by three large impaled bodies. As you might already know, the lion dancer is actually made up of three bodies, and so the implication here is that these are the three bodies with long cloaks that were puppeteering the lion dancer in the previous scene before Mesmer killed and impaled them. Now's a good time to note that many on the receiving end of Mesmer's purge have what look like Omen horns. The creature on the stairs has them too, and its robes look a lot like the ones worn by these enemies in the previous trailer, who also have horns. As discussed at length in previous videos, those with Omen horns can be linked to the primordial Crucible, and the Crucible talismans make it clear that horns and other such aspects were once considered signifiers of the divine. It seems this is so deep, and an idea that Marica wanted to stamp out, since she probably had new ideas about what should be considered heavenly. This is probably why the almost genetic reappearance of Omen horns during her era was seen as a bad omen, to her at least. Maybe these horns were an element of the truth, hidden beneath the surface, coming back to haunt her.
I barely noticed the horns on that one, but he is right. I think there's some information we already have on these things, right? I do think they look awful. I hate the look of those. I already know I'm gonna hate that fight. But I never noticed the Omen horns on those, to be honest. I don't know, for some reason I completely missed that.
The only one without horns that we see on the receiving end of Mesmer's flame is seen here, a feminine figure who seems to be holding some sort of undulating blade. Is this a spiral
corkscrew
weapon, like so many others in Elden Ring, or is it maybe a sort of banner? Anyway, she's the last in this video's long list of atrocities.
That's Torin. Please, Mikola. I don't think that's Mikola. Kebab
For now.
spare.
Next, let's talk about Mikola, who seems intent on bringing the truth to light.
Wait, so it is Mikola?
And so kindly Mikola would abandon everything.
No, are we not going to talk about the lady?
His golden flesh, his blinding strength,
The music is so good.
even his fate. But we are not deterred. We choose to follow.
I love that he left this entire part in because he knows it's so good. He was like, yeah, I ain't cutting that.
One question I'm curious about the answer to in the DLC is, how did Mikola become aware of what happened in the beginning with Marica? My answer for now is that Mikola is quite like Marica in a couple of ways. For one, he's considered to be an Empyrean, with the wisdom, the allure of a god. Maybe
Also the blonde
he's
hair.
quite capable of thinking like one. Another similarity is that Mikola literally tried to grow his own Erd tree,
He's so
watering it
cute.
with his own blood, since it was a sapling.
Not cute.
What if this gave him an insight into how such trees were supposed to grow? And if we're right about this being the Crucible, perhaps Mikola realized the sheer amount of blood that would have been required for the Erd tree that already exists. So out of everyone, Mikola could probably figure it out. A few items actually consider Mikola to be a genius, and he's called a prodigy, so his ability to puzzle out the truths of this universe make good sense. In the face of
He
these
is such a
truths,
good character
he
already.
abandoned everything, and these sacrifices clearly have a purpose. We don't understand that purpose just yet, but take these scenes for instance. These markings left behind are in the shape of a great rune.
I actually saw someone say, what if these are like the graces in the DLC? Like, instead of sitting at a grace, you sit at these. I do think that would be kind of cool. It's such a minor detail, but I do think that would be cool. Mikola is definitely manipulative man whore, but I still love him. Still gotta love him, you know? The last time someone was so anticipated was Artorias back in Dark Souls 1. Was he? Of Artorias hypes? Wait, I missed that. I was not around for that.
Something that Mikola would have had, and surely these are Mikola's own great runes that he's leaving behind, presumably for us. At first I thought that you might be able
Oh,
to
look, he's
rest
saying
at
that as well.
these, like sites of grace, but in a recent promotional image it's been revealed that grace still exists in the Land of Shadow.
Just tiny,
The
oh no.
previous trailer says that Mikola is awaiting his promised lord. That's likely us, though. It's possible his followers each believe that it's them, as they're clearly following this hallowed land that Mikola has left behind as well.
Everyone's
And here
fighting
they
for his
are,
attention.
a veritable band of the Hawk, presented with this uplifting surge of music in the trailer. Mikola's faithful compelled to follow him. Surely all these great NPCs aren't going to suffer horrific, terrible deaths, right? Right?
You're probably
We've
going to have
already
to fight
seen
them
4
for his
of these
attention.
NPCs in the previous trailer. There's the knight, this warrior, this
True.
tanky guy, and the masked one. Previously, the masked one was actually seen sleeping in what we suspected was a
You're
swamp
just like me.
of Saint Trina. And since then, we've received confirmation from Miyazaki that Saint Trina will indeed make an appearance in the DLC. And sure
Oh,
enough,
that's
here they
cool.
are now in the trailer. Saint Trina, presented in the context of things that Mikola has abandoned.
His golden flesh,
That's confirmed?
his blinding
That Saint Trina is going to be in it?
even his fate.
Is that supposed to be her?
Considering Saint Trina is falling in this scene, holding their arm up to the light, at first glance I assumed that this is the fate that Mikola was leaving behind, abandoning his alter ego. On second thought though, we know that Mikola is abandoning his golden self, so perhaps it's more likely that Saint Trina will be all that's left.
Oh, that would be cool though. That would be cool though, if we don't even get to see Mikola as Mikola, but only as Saint Trina. That would be a bit of a plot twist. Only Mikola after he left his golden flesh. Oh, so we might actually not see Mikola as Mikola. Kinda don't trust Mikola. They keep referring to him as kind. The gods in these games have never been well, maybe they are, maybe this is all, maybe they're tricking us. Maybe they're tricking us.
Since they're making an appearance, I assume that we'll get to the bottom of things. All of this is a lot of speculation, I know. I feel like the closer we get to the truth, the more questions are raised. But hopefully, if nothing else, I think this was an opportunity to refresh our memory of a few things that we should look out for going into the DLC. But what about after the DLC?
Yeah,
well,
what about
I found
after?
one other game that I'm interested in playing when it releases in September. It's called Enotria, the Last Song.
Is this an ad?
It's a lot of fun.
Well, that was cool. Interesting. Lots of theories. Kind of scared of the Godskin coming back. I'm not excited to find another Godskin, although if it's actually that queen, what is her name again? I forgot. That would be kind of cool. I'm not against that, but if it's just some Godskin variation, I feel like we've had enough of those. We don't need a new one. Exciting that Saint Trina is confirmed to be in it. I have a feeling we're probably going to see more Saint Trina than Mikola then, because Mikola does seem to have left his body or some sort of that. But yeah, that was really interesting. Again, check out Vaati. Great content creator, makes a lot of lore videos. This was not my video, this was his video. I'm just reacting to it, so feel free to check him out. He has some more videos about Mesmer and one about the first trailer that I might want to watch sometime. So if you guys would like that, please let me know. If you want me to do that on stream again, we can. I think it's kind of fun to do these reaction videos on stream. I think it's a good time that we can like live chat about it and like exchange theories and stuff. I do think that makes it more fun than just sitting here and doing it on my own and reading comments afterwards. Well, thank you guys for watching this with me. I had a good time. Excited to play the DLC at some point.